welcome back to Field Stories. My name is Chris Catola, and with me, of course, is Michela, and who's not with us is Nick. That's why I'm doing the intro to this episode. Nick has decided that watching Denmark lose to Germany in the Euros is more important than filming this episode, which I somewhat respect because of my love for sports, so I can respect that. Although karma did get him because Germany won 2-0. So, sorry, Nick, for when you're watching this and editing it, but hey, that's the breaks. So, yeah, Nick's not with us today. It's just going to be me and Michela. Yeah, I mean, let's do a check-in because, you know, it's been a while. Once again, we had a bit of a I guess, technical issue last week. And then before that, we weren't able to do any episodes because, well, basically all three of us have been extremely busy. I was in Canada for 3 weeks. Michela's been basically feeding the mosquitoes in the marshlands, I guess, of Massachusetts. And Nick's been just doing a million scheduling things. So yeah, Nick can't update his status until the next time he's on the show. But Michela, yeah, give us some more details about what you've been up to recently and how you're doing.
Yeah, I've just been, being the state freshwater turtle biologist, I'm working all across the state, with 5 different threatened and endangered species, and it really spreads you thin pretty quick. And it's great, but also end up being home coming home at like 7 p.m. every day. So it's been awesome work, but definitely has, its downsides in terms of a really hectic field schedule. But it's been awesome. Lots of amazing field work, new projects coming up that I'm really, really excited about, and a lot of great opportunities and connections. I've been working with just so many different amazing organizations and landowners. And also on my weekends, when I do have spare time, I've been just really exploring the East Side because, sad to say, I've explored a lot of the world, but not the East Side of the United States. So I got to go to Portland, Maine, which was beautiful, and enjoying New Hampshire and Boston, and just to really getting to really understand the East Side culture of the United States. So that's been pretty nice so far. So just making the most of my time in the East Side. But yeah, tell us a little bit about Canada.
Well, yeah, I mean, Canada was a lot. I mean, hard to summarize that, but I mean, I guess the summary is beautiful, amazing. Same as you, sort of. For me, it's the first time I've gotten to explore the west part of my country, the West Coast in particular. It was hard. I mean, it was tough conditions, very cold some days. The highest it ever was about 14 degrees Celsius, 15 degrees Celsius. Some days were 9 or 10. Lots of rain, lots of wind some days. So some days were tough physically for sure. Lots of walking on, really not fun to walk on beaches along the coast because doing 20 kilometers on a rocky or sandy beach is not super easy. But with all that being said, it was an absolutely amazing time. Got to see, well, soon we'll reveal the videos. So we got to see some, I can say it in the show, I just can't show the video content yet, but we got to see some orcas doing an incredible behavior very close, which was amazing. I didn't get to see wolves with my own eyes. Some of our team did, but not myself, but I did get wolves in the camera traps I installed. And it was an amazing experience. And the properties up there are just honestly pretty magical. It shows you don't need to have 1,000 species or whatever in an area for it to be beautiful. Even though the vertebrate diversity and the biodiversity is lower than, of course, here in the Amazon, it's still just such a magical place. The bogs in particular struck me because, I mean, I always like wetlands and bogs. I have a soft spot in my heart for them. I think you probably do as well, Michela, with your work. And they're just so beautiful and they're so peaceful up there. And also the tidal ecosystems. I hadn't really explored much tidal ecosystems before, and that was really amazing. As someone who grew up inland in Ontario, the tidal zones are newer to me, and that was really, really, really cool, really interesting to explore that. So it just continues to show that no matter where you go, and I guess it's the same for you, Michela, is no matter where you go, you're going to find incredible wildlife, incredible beauty. It continues to blow my mind every time I travel in the world to go anywhere new, how amazing it is. And doesn't matter what the species list is. Nature is just fantastic. So that's what I would take away from being up in Canada. It was just super, super beautiful, super inspiring, super amazing experience. And we'll see what the plan is next year, but I really hope we'll be going back again because there's also a lot of research potential in there, and a lot for us to still to understand about this property. So it was amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think tidal zones and bogs for sure, they have soft spots. I think, outside of being wanting to be a freshwater turtle biologist, I always found myself whenever I vacation always like playing in the tidal pools, and it's an amazing world in its own, and just such a small little area. And just from seeing your posts and just from what you've told me, I'm so envious, but really, really happy for you to get to explore that part of your country and get to have some time off and do something a little bit different and outside of the Amazon. So that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't necessarily call it time off, but it's definitely time in a different place. That's true. Yeah, it was. My body still is telling me it wasn't time off because I'm extremely tired.
Yeah, I know.
Over a week later, still super tired since. But yeah, no, it's but a different environment, and I think it's also really good to get away from a place you work regularly to remember, how cool the world is, but also when you come back to reinvigorate your passion for that area. So that's good. It's it's definitely the upsides of travel. So yeah, no, it was great, great. Yeah,
Awesome.
so I mean, I guess that leads us into today's guest. Or today's guest is Liliana Tobar, and she's a biologist from Mexico, and she's also pretty active in science communication on Instagram and other platforms, especially in the Latin community, as you would imagine. And yeah, she's someone that again I've sort of met through Instagram, as we make a lot of connections of our guests through that platform in the sort of the digital world. And yeah, I just think she'll be a really interesting guest to have on this week and discuss her work in Mexico and other aspects of her career. And it's nice to get I mean, I have to say, and it is the way it is. It's difficult. There's such a big world and such a big world of biologists and people in the world of conservation. But the reality is, she's the first guest we've gotten on from Mexico and Central America. So interesting to get that perspective. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to try and get perspectives from everywhere in the world, but as we continue to do more episodes, we'll definitely do that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to get her perspective on conservation, in that part of the world for sure. All right. Well, our guest this week is Liliana Tobar, and yeah, she's a Mexican biologist that is actually currently working in Illinois. And yeah, she's also started up a BioLovers Mundial, if I said that right, Instagram page and sort of social media account to, if I'm interpreting it right, to sort of help, I guess, love of nature and biology and ecology in the more Latin-speaking social media world, which I would say is probably really, really needed, to be honest. There's, God knows, there's enough gringo influencers like myself out there, so it's nice to get some diversity in content from in the actual Latin world. So that's great. So yeah, Lily and myself have chatted off and on over the last few years, and I thought she'd be an awesome guest to have on the show this week. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Lily. It's a pleasure to have you. And yeah, if you want to go ahead and please just tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background, anything you want to share, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I really like the podcast. I think it's important to highlight some stories that maybe you don't see that often, because we love to romanticize our work and like say that it's the best in the world, when actually it's like a lot of things that we don't say. So it's a good opportunity to talk about that. Okay. Well, I'm 29. I'm from Mexico, as Chris said, and mostly, like since I graduate, I've been working with bird conservation, like different species in different ecosystem, but mostly grassland birds and also seabirds, like total opposites. But
No.
yeah, it's part of me. So yeah, I also enjoy like just do science communication, but also like trying to I don't know, like extend like environmental education, because I think a lot of programs are like well funded and they do like work in communities or schools or whatever, but a lot of projects, I think they just want the data, the science, the information, but I think in conservation, you cannot do science without involving the social part, like the community, because they are there most of the time, and you go like get your data, like maybe I don't know, um, hang with local people, but you don't get like the full context, like the full story. So that's why people, I mean, this space and like people that do science communication is like really important, because I think I'm gonna put that medal, but we give a little bit of, how can I say it, modesty, not the word to translate that, but it's like
That's good.
scientists in ground level, because a lot of times if you publish a bunch of stuff, or if you have like a bunch of awards, you forget that you're a person. So I think it's enough. I think it's like my contribution. So yeah, I've been working um since I graduated, which was 7 years now. Yeah, but in my career, I think we had like a little bit of field work. It was like counted opportunities to go out, because it was like a lot of insecurity in my town. I'm from uh, near to the border, so it's a whole thing. And I don't know, I think teachers didn't get us out because our safety, but also because there wasn't like safe space to like just, I don't know, bring a bunch of yeah, students to the field. So I had the opportunity to visit mostly, well, yeah, mostly the northern part, like in the beginning of my career, and then I started to go a little bit center and then south. So I only have two states from Mexico that I don't know. So I've been up and down there, and I see a bunch of necessity in, I don't know, like kind of spread the word about like the opportunities that are out there, because a lot of times you, at least in my university, it was more like just get your credits and get out of there and try to live your life. But I don't know, I think this experiences gave me like a different perspective about biology, but also like, mm, yeah, like the social part of conservation. And yeah, I think in 2019, 20, about those years, I started to work with seabirds in, um, well, they call it Mexico and Galapagos. It's an archipelago. It's called Revillagigedo. I know it's hard. It's not a tongue twister, but they have like a really protected area for marine ecosystems. But the few islands that are in that territory, they're full of invasive species. Like they have a bunch of problems that Mexican government and nonprofits are trying to eradicate. So I started to get involved in that world, like just seeing species, I don't know, like decreasing, and also trying to work on their conservation. But also, like a sad reality is that we don't have like the best opportunities to do that, even though you're like really passionate about. So I don't know, I think from that experience I was like, okay, I want to do something in my country, but I need to see like what is out there, like what programs are working, like yeah, like what's the higher science away from my borders, right? So I apply for an internship with Pacific Rim Conservation, and I got it. It was like really, I don't know, like a dream come true, because I dreamt about Hawaii in my whole life, and then when I had the opportunity, I yeah, I got selected, and it was like a really, I don't know, like a heart moving thing, because I was the first non US citizen or Hawaiian people that was in that program. So I was like, okay, I have like big shoes there. If I don't feel them, they're not gonna open. That is space again for, I don't know, like Latin American people. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the best. And I got a lot from that internship, because it was when the pandemic started. So I was like lockdown, but not really because I lived like 3 minutes from the beach. I lived in Oahu for 6 months, so it was it was a really important part of science communication for me because, well, I got a page before Biolovers was a thing. I got another page, but then got hacked, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna start over. But then when I started over, it was like in that year, like 2020. So people was like really interested about just like seeing the day life and like all the things that I was learning. And I don't know, I think it was a breaking point to take that seriously, or like, I don't know, like just get rid of my shyness, if that's a word. And I don't know, like talking to the camera is not easy. I stutter a lot. Like I can't just like get in one shot. So it was like also a challenge, but thanks to that, I got like a bunch of opportunities to talk about the work that I did back in Hawaii when I came back. So I don't know, it was really important for me, that internship. And then I started working with grassland birds again in North Mexico. And then I was, yeah, like doing field jobs between seasons. And I think most of my time I'm in the field, but also like the free time I'm editing stuff to post to like get people engaged about the things that I'm like passionate about. And also, um, I complain a lot. Like, Mexican government is not good and is not eco-friendly in any means. So there's a lot of opportunities that you like, I don't know, like close that door forever. But I think our mission, or like our responsibility, is also like inform, but with like how can I say, like with values, like with the good thing in mind, not like the opportunity that you can get with, I don't know, like just saying good things about the government or nonprofits or whatever thing. Because I don't know, it's a complicated word to like just work and live out of this, but also I think I prefer to do whatever thing if biology, I don't know, like I can't continue with that, but I'll never say something like to try to fool people, because I don't know, I think science or knowledge in general, like if you don't share it, it doesn't work for anything. So that's kind of my mantra, and I work under that. And now I'm currently working in Midewin. It's a tallgrass prairie here in Illinois, and we're working with eastern meadowlarks, with grassland bird in general, but also I think this is my third summer coming back to do this type of field work. And I think when you come back to places that you initially, I don't know, like feel complete, or that your work is being like well paid, or just like, I don't know, like acknowledge, is part of what projects want, like people that is dedicated to the project, but also like it brings like more uh outcomes. Because yeah, like we're really different in this project, because I have a coworker who lives like an hour from here, and our boss is also from Mexico, so he's been working in Texas, here, Montana, and he knows a lot of this aspect that I've been telling you guys. But I don't know, I think it's good to have like this diverse team, because you learn a lot from the person, not like the scientist. And yeah, I think that's a good resume.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I think Michela's having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we can. That just seems to be the theme of the show, so that's okay. We can continue on while she tries to sort that out. I think it's hilarious that we're both in the field doing field work, and we have better signal than she
I
does at her
know.
apartment. Excuses, but hopefully she'll join us again. But we can continue on because we still got the red dots. We still got recording, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that was great. So I mean, I guess the first question I had is, you alluded to working and sort of starting your career in the near the border, and then getting a chance to move throughout Mexico. I guess I have a couple questions. Okay, I'm going to level with you. You're the first guest we've had on from with the Mexican background, and really I think one of the first we've had in more of a Central American background in general. So I think it's an obvious line to go through questions is kind of what that experience is like within Mexico, but also then specifically for you too, is what it's been like working in the United States. We know the political environment; it's a mess. Let's be honest. Any listener who doesn't agree with that probably isn't listening to this show. So it's a disaster in the States, and it's not a great environment sometimes in many ways. So I guess you can go with either topic first, but I suppose we'll start with your country. What would you? I guess it's really hard. I'm sure. Like if somebody asked me about any country, Canada, or even here in Peru, it would be a half an hour conversation trying to explain what conservation's like and how complicated it is. So you can't go into everything, but if you had to give a brief overview of the state of conservation in Mexico, just like an overview, what would you say? What would you like? What's the good? What's the bad? What's your hope? I guess.
Well, my hope is that that we as a society try to claim the natural ecosystem that are being just destroyed by a lot of constructions and roads and whatnot. But I think we have decent amount of protected areas, but they are not really protected. There is a thing that I want to say, and hopefully this information gets to everyone, because there is a project that is basically destroying the south of Mexico, that it's a Mayan train, but I'm saying this because isn't. It's just a way to make people richer, because the government and all of the the industry that builds the train, the hotels, everything is just trying to fool people, saying that it's gonna bring a bunch of progress and a lot of local how can I say it's gonna improve the economy from the locals, but it's not that
Local
they are
growth.
gonna. Yeah, it's just a brainwashed thing that they want to say. So yeah, this Mayan train is going across the peninsula and is mostly direct to people that is not from Mexico. And I'm not against tourism or anything, but I think all mostly I think most of the foreign people knows Mexico from, or know Mexico just Cancun or Mexico City, and that's it. That's Mexico for them. And it's not their fault, but I think this I don't know, this feeling of being I don't know, fooled by the government, and also all the industry that is gonna get a bunch of benefits from changing the landscape, or putting stores where I don't know, people get their life normal, and now they're gonna be exposed of about a bunch of people, a bunch of insecurity, because I think I don't know, most of the communities regulate themselves. They have their own type of government, especially Chiapas, which I don't know if you heard about Los Zapatistas, which is a kind of self-government. It's from people, from the community. So it's a complicated I don't know, topic, but I think the point that I'm gonna I want to get is that don't be fooled. mine train is not good for Mexico. That's the best point. But yeah, like conservation wise, I've been in a couple projects that I really enjoy, that I think they have like private funding, but also like they support like local communities. But I think at least in like academia, it's a lot of ego. Like, I think they can't get it straight because they want to publish more, or they don't get along with whatever researcher. And it's really annoying because it's like sometimes people work with the same species, but they don't talk to each other. Like, they don't want to exchange information. So it's like, I don't know, why are you doing science if you don't want to share it, or if you don't want to collaborate to like have a bigger impact, you know?
Yeah,
So
that seems to not be. I don't think that's restricted to Mexico. But
yeah,
no,
yeah. No, I don't think it's just a Mexican thing, but yeah, I can't stand people that is just like so jealous about their research. Because why are you doing research? Why are you publish stuff if you don't want to like expand your impact in that species or ecosystem or community, whatever. So I think we have like a really determined amount of people, but also we have like a lot of interest in like intertwined. So I don't know. I think we're kind of halfway there because there's a lot of people, especially in Latin America, that speak about like environmental injustice, or just like they are defending their fucking territory, they get killed. Like,
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
reality. And it's something that really like just I get infuriated when I talk about this, because I know people that lost their brothers, their moms, their friends because of that. Like, it's a sensitive topic, but also it's a thing that we should talk about, because I think on May, yes, on May, Netflix, uh, I think it was in May. I don't remember. I think it was last month or 2 months ago. I don't know time, but they released a documentary about Homero Gomez,
mm-hmm.
which was the monarch protector in Michoacan.
Mm-hmm.
And the documentary, I was just fucking crying but angry at the same time, because like they show all the like the inconsistency
Yep.
of the research or like the
Mm-hmm.
investigation. And basically people got like really yeah, like just angry about him being missing. So they started to look for him everywhere, like people not only from Mexico, like from other parts of the world that they know his work, starting to like make this a big thing, like a like international thing. It wasn't just like in our country. So when he appeared, uh they said that he drowned, but like all of the things was like pointing the other way. And it was just like a good thing for us to show the world, like
Mm-hmm.
just be aware that this is happening. Or like, I don't know, a lot of this issue with the monarch uh, is the habitat loss
Yeah.
because of logging, because of avocado,
Avocado. Yeah.
aguacate plantations.
Lots of
And sometimes we just
like
like,
here. I hear. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes we just need like, oh yeah, the avocado toast and whatnot. But it's not about the consumption. It's just like wondering about the place that thing is coming from. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but a lot of people think that it's just like, oh yeah, mafia and whatnot. But it's not like, drugs are not like the money now. It's like logging is the, yeah, like the plantation of avocado. And it's like a whole problem.
Mm,
But if you see just like, I don't know, like a news about, oh yeah, monarchs are not getting there, or I don't know, they are dying when they complete the migration or whatever. It's not just that, like it's a lot of social things that you don't know, or like you don't, yeah, like you're not aware. So yeah, I think conservation wise, it's like a lot of things that we can do better, but also I don't know, I think we should just try to collaborate more and just like leave that fucking ego away, because that doesn't help anyone, like
yeah,
animals or the ecosystem.
yeah. No, that's really interesting, and I think that last point you made about it not just being, drug cartels being the only issue. Yeah, I think for most people who don't live in the country and don't really know, they just know the TV shows, and they know what the American media traditionally would put out there, and probably maybe the more historical problems. That's what they assume, but it's I guess it's not a big surprise that there'd be big industry and farmers and that kind of thing would also be loggers, et cetera, would be big problems as well. So yeah, so it sounds like an extremely complicated situation, as it is in so many countries. It's not a simple thing. Um, yeah, so unfortunately, Michela is not going to be able to return. Her signal is Riverside, as
Oh,
it says.
bye,
Yeah,
Michaela.
Riverside has messed us up again. That's not a shock. I also have been distracted by blue-headed parrots and an agouti that are like coming in to join the studio here. They're all around me.
Yeah, they wanna feature
It's
here.
literally like a blue-headed parrot.
All the birds are
Yeah,
coming.
yeah. And there was an agouti. I like, so you saw my phone. There was literally an agouti like running in front of me. It was cute. So I'm sorry if I like
Yeah,
a little distracted. It was just seeing these animals.
all good.
But yeah, so I'd love to ask you more questions about what it's been like working in the United States for you as well. Um, but I think we might have to save that for a future episode, just because it's getting pretty late now, and I want to have some time for your story. So, so yeah, I mean, as I said when I was talking to you, there's no script about what story to tell. It doesn't have to be long. It can just be short. It can be whatever works. But yeah, go ahead, hit us with your field story. Let's go for it.
Okay. Oh, I think Phil's story that was like really. I always say this story, like I always tell this story, but I was doing. I don't know if it's a thing in the U.S., but in Mexico we call it like professional practices or something like that. It's like an internship that you get like before you graduate. So I did my professional practices on Coahuila, which is a state that is like kind of in the border too. So in that place is like, I think they joined to what is it called? What is it called? Big Bend National Park. So it's like an important corridor between the US and Mexico. And in that place, in Maderas del Carmen, it's called in Coahuila, they have like a bunch of programs to reintroduce bison, um, prawn, prawn, what is it
Pronghorns?
called?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, Antilocapra americana. I don't know the name, but that one,
Okay.
another ungulate. And yeah, so they have like a bunch of conservation efforts there because it's like private, like funding.
Mm-hmm.
So they have money,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I went there because I wanted to learn how to like catch deers and peccaries and all of like big mammals.
Mm-hmm.
And in that part, they have like a bunch of bears because it's like most of the land is like, I don't know, like desert, um, but also they have like a forest area. And in the forest, the black bears are really big. Like I saw one that we call it the Volkswagen bear because it was giant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for a month ish, and um, people from my lab, they went there to do some research, and I was doing other stuff there, but we met there.
Mhm.
And I think in some point we helped them out with mist netting and whatnot. But one time, because I was planning to get a thesis with uh, bear diet and like a bunch of molecular things that I didn't understand fully, but I was like just collecting shit, like literally shit. So I was doing that in the meantime, and in that point, these two teams, like this other two guys and our supervisor from the professional practices and my lab was there, so we're just checking like the nets, and we got like distracted by something, and then I was collecting shit, and I was just like ground level, like just putting everything in an epinorm tube.
Yeah.
And then like I got this friend Paco getting the GPS point, and Antonio was like writing for me like, oh yeah, I ate I don't know, berries and this and that, well I like just filling
Yeah.
the like the sheet of the information from the poop. So we were all like just involved in our thing, but we had to like check another 2 minutes, I think. So we're there. We're both Antonio and I were like this, and Paco was standing with the GPS to get like all the satellite. And then he said in a really weird way, like, "Guys, it's a bear," but like with no motion. And I was like, yeah, sure, like just keep doing that, something like that. And then he said like, it's real and it's really big. So he was like, just like, I heard that voice and I was like, I don't think it's true, but if it's true, it's really close, because he was like shitting his pants. So I was like, okay, maybe I if I stand up and scream, the bear is gonna run. But then or my thesis advisor, both of them, Canales and Irene, they were like farther down. So I was like, if I scare the bear, it's gonna run to them and maybe it's gonna attack them. So I was like, Jules, all like thinking about all of this possible outcomes. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stand up like quietly and I'm gonna see if he's joking or if it's true. But then I was just like finishing, like closing my tube, and then Antonio like stood up and he was like, "It's true. It's really big." Like just like, almost passing out. And then when I stand up, it was because we were kind of in a hill,
Yeah.
and like the road like this.
Yeah.
So we were taller than the bear, but it was like, I don't know, 50 meters from us. So we didn't see the bear when we were all down. But then we like Paco saw it and we didn't believe that it was a thing. And then when I stood up, I saw the bear, and it was the Volkswagen bear. It was like giant in front of us, and his face was like just all shocked, and we were silent. So I was like, "What's next? Like, what are we gonna do?" And then I only saw the bear like just moving his ear like to the side, and then he run. And then I was like, "Oh, it's gonna eat my advisors." And then Paco was like, no, it's going that way. We need to let them know. But it wasn't like we didn't have any signal or anything to like let them know. So we needed to go like, yeah, like just following the bear to see if they were okay. So we got there like the fastest that we could, and we didn't see the bear in the way, but we were like, maybe it's gonna attack us. Like obviously Blackbird doesn't do that, but we were just scared. Yeah, so we get there with with our advisors, and they were like, "Why are you guys all like, yeah, scared? Or, yeah, like that." And we were like, "You see the bear?" And I think that was so funny because they didn't believe us at first, but then Paco was like almost passing out, and I was like, "We should leave. Like, we should close the business because it's gonna get tangled and it's gonna rip them." And I was just thinking about everything that could happen. So, yeah, that's the bear story.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is I think you're the third or fourth person who's had a bear story now as their story. You know, it seems like Bears generate good stories. Yeah. Quick little side field story for myself to build on that. I one time was birding in Ontario. It wasn't a survey work. It was just birding, I'll be honest. But I was alone and I'd been there all day. And it's a really cool habitat called an alvar habitat. So it's very like limestone and a lot of grass. And anyway, so all day I'd seen these rocks flipped over and I couldn't understand. I was like kind of pissed off because I thought that herpers had been there trying to look for herps under rocks and then not putting them back, which, you're supposed to
And they didn't put them back.
That's what I thought, right? So I've been out there 2, 3, 4 hours, I don't know, like 4 hours probably. And I'm nearly back to the place where I parked my car. And then I hear a noise and I hear a boom, boom. And I'm like, what the hell's the noise? So I look over like between trees in a little opening. And sure enough, a black bear walks out. And then I clicked, shit, okay, she's been flipping rocks looking for inverts all day. So, okay, now I can't be mad. It's nature, right? But then behind her, out walks one of her cubs. So now it's about 15 meters from me with her and her cub. And I was like, okay, well, generally speaking, cubs are the ones that might be a bit dangerous. I mean, probably not, but that's the time you got to be a little careful. So then,
they get defensive.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, we're okay. I'm not between them. But so anyway, she stands up on her hind legs and looks at me, and a little bit like intimidating. So I'm like, okay, I'm actually about as tall as her, probably taller than her. So I'm gonna like let her know that we're equal. Let's not fight.
Yeah.
So I put my hand up, and I'm just, we're okay, we're okay. I literally yell that at her. And she's like, oh, shit, okay, he's tall. And then he starts to run. But the crazy thing is that the baby stood up and looked at me and then ran. And then 4 more babies ran. She had five cubs. It was insane.
Wow.
So, that's
a lot of cubs.
Yeah, that's my little bear story as well. So bears seem to generate some good stories, that's for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, well, anyways, I guess that's about it. We're at, it's pretty long time, so we should probably wrap this one up. I feel like you could probably share a lot more stories and knowledge with us. Like I said, I'd love to talk to you more about your experiences working in the United States, and then also love to know more about what brought you into grassland birds and more seabirds, pelagic birds. But that's a whole topic for another day, either on the show or over a beer one day. So we'll save that. So unfortunately, Michela can't be here to say goodbye because she's somewhere probably smashing her computer as we speak. But thanks a lot, Lily, for joining us. It was a pleasure. And we'll be in touch again to have you on some other time for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. If you wanna or anyone have any more questions, I answer all my messages in my page. So maybe they are gonna put it in here somewhere.
Oh yeah,
I don't know, but
we will. Yeah,
look me up.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll share your page. Don't worry. And that's true. So if anybody's got any more questions, they can fire away and in 2 languages on that profile as well. Okay, thanks, Lily. Ciao.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, you wouldn't know this, Michela, but Lily was a great guest, and I really enjoyed talking to her. I guess we should address, your situation. I'm really sorry again that Riverside has jumped up. We had a little run there of like 4 or 5 episodes, and things were smooth. And now that you've moved, I think it's since you've been to Massachusetts, you've struggled with the connection.
It's like, it doesn't even matter if I'm on my computer or on my phone. It's just, I think that maybe Massachusetts has cursed me. And you know why? I think it's like Massachusetts is so old and historic. There's so many ghosts and they've just been waiting. They've been waiting to haunt me.
It's the witches.
It's the witches. Yeah, ever since I've been to Salem. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's
I got
what
my
it is.
tires red, and then they're like, not this girl. Willow.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you missed it. But no, it was a good episode, and she made some really interesting points about, conservation in Mexico. And then one of the things that really struck me about the conversation is I asked her about about the state of conservation in Mexico. It's obviously very complicated, like it is all over the world. And she made the really good point that one of the things that's happening now that's driving a lot of deforestation and issues in the environment is not just drug cartels, which of course we always associate everything that's bad happening in Mexico with that, because that's just the sort of Western image we have of the country and bad things, you know. But her point was that a lot of it now is actually farming and deforestation and logging, and you know, a lot of it is like we have to build a farm to make avocados, literally, and that's destroying habitat, destroying, you know, grasslands, destroying farmland, and I mean, that's really interesting, and it shows you how. I mean, Mexico's such a huge country too, and I don't pretend to know it. Unfortunately, I haven't been there yet, but I think even if I had been there, I still wouldn't even begin to scratch the surface of understanding it, like most countries, and certainly large countries, similar to here in Peru, and maybe be honest, similar to the United States and any big country. It's very regional and complicated. So yeah, that was really interesting, and I really like. Yeah, no, it's like I said, I really liked your point too about you know, trying to have an impact with education when you do projects in the area, and you know, it's something that I think all of us, myself included, and our organization included, can sort of, you know, take into account and try to improve upon. It's difficult, not always easy. There's complications that come up, but yeah, I do totally agree that trying to leave some kind of legacy, some kind of impact over and above the scientific aspect is really important. So. Yeah, she was a really good episode. I wish you'd been there for the whole episode, Michela, but it was really good, really good.
I'm excited to listen back to it, and you know, I will definitely reach out to her because I think, you know, you made a good point, and especially early on when we were talking, is that it's really good to leave legacy, and also to have a good representation of your culture in a way, in a sense of like as a woman, as a Latina, but also a representation of as a environmentalist, as an activist, you know, to be like, hey, I can be doing this too, representing my country, and teaching of ways of like, it's not just a cartel, but it's also like, there's these other things, like, you know, they have to be doing this for their economy. How can we balance this? Yeah. And I'm really, you know, interested to see of, you know, what ways she thinks that, you know, they can combat this and mitigate this as a community, you know. And so like you said, it's such a complicated subject. Don't eat that. Sorry, she's eating a plum tree. These are very expensive. Oh my gosh. Sorry. But yeah. Oh man. But yeah, no, I'm very, very disappointed that I wasn't a part of that. And the Riverside Gods are not on my favor right now. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out. And I really appreciate people who educate us on a manner of, you know, subjects that we're so unfamiliarized with, you know, things that are really not shed to light. You know, and especially when the media really focuses on, like you said, on specific dramatic pieces like the cartel, you know, because that's really only subjects that I'm more, right? That's all we hear about. Same thing as I'm sure people hear about certain parts of America too. So I think that when people like her who are more familiar and shed the light, it helps us grow as activists as well, you know, and help us learn and move forward. So yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it highlights how complicated these issues are everywhere. You know, anytime we try to look, it's something, you know, we've talked about before. Anytime we try to look for a black and white problem, like make a problem black and white, or assume there's a black and white solution, there isn't. You know, so yeah, no, that was really, really good. That was really cool. And I'll let you, like all the listeners who have already hopefully heard it, I'll let you listen to the field story. But let's just say it involved a bear again. So bears seem to be a pretty consistent theme on field stories. You know, it's something about bears, I tell you. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I just ran into a bear. I forgot to tell you. I can tell you afterwards. I just ran into a bear in the field. Speaking of
the viewers, you gotta. I told my little short story about bears. Go ahead, do it quick.
Yeah, okay. I was looking for this turtle, and they've all been estivating right now, and I was in this riparian zone, and also it's, you know, it's a time right now that foxes and coyotes are having kits, but I think that, you know, there's a lot of young cubs out right now too, and so I'm like kind of bushwhacking, and my radio receiver's on. It has really, really loud static, and so I heard this rumbling, and I thought it was thunder. And so I couldn't see anything besides green. And so I was like, oh, it's really loud. I'm really close to this turtle. and I just kept hearing like this really loud rumbling, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's thunder, I got to get out of here quick. And it turned down to static, and I was like, that's not thunder. And I'm like moving, and then the rumble gets really loud, and I was like, oh my god, that's a bear. And then it just like gets like super guttural, and I like see something move, and it's like dark and black, and I was like, oh my god, I need to get out right now. And I just sprint out of there. I was like, yeah, I'm not getting the mark for this turtle, and I'm hoping it's alive, because I ended up seeing one of my turtles got predated, unfortunately. But yeah, I encountered I think a mama bear, and I think I was near her den, or I don't know if she was foraging, but yeah, I booked it. I was like, I'm out.
Holy
So,
God. All right, that's rare.
God.
It was growling then, was it?
Oh yeah, she was mad. I was freaking out. I didn't get a good enough look, but that's like the downside, doing field work by yourself a lot. It's like I like it because it's like I love my alone time and everything, but then when you're just like surrounded, like in the middle of nowhere, I don't have any service. Like one of the sites have a lot of construction workers, and I'm familiar with them. They're really nice, and so I'm comfortable with that, but they weren't there that day, and I was like alone, and so this thing's growling at me, and I'm just like, I was like, oh, I'm okay, I can get the GPS point, I can keep going. And then and like I started seeing it move, and I was like, I'm not good, I need to go now. And I just like freaking ran. I was like stumbling, I looked probably crazy, just like holding my stuff, like flailing like a little giraffe in the wind. Oh, it was scary. Yeah.
God.
So anyways, yeah,
Well,
I know.
There you go. There's a hat trick of bear stories on today's episode. There you go.
There you go.
It's a little present for all the viewers bearing with us. So there you go. Yeah, I just sorry, put a little grandpa joke in there. Well, it's we better wrap it up on that note there. God only knows a lot next week. We'll see. Hopefully we have a show. Hopefully we have some guests, and hopefully Michela's computer doesn't piss her off and turn off. But that's the joy of the show and Riverside. So we will see how it goes, and we'll join you next week. Hopefully, everyone.
Bye.